I'm the luxurious hipster, and today we're going to be comparing 3 decades of Burberry trench coats. It's a bit of a myth that Burberry has always been a desirable hype brand. When they first started manufacturing, they were known to make very practical items like many other British institutions such as Barbour. They only started getting a lot of recognition for their particular brand when the company rebranded itself in the late 2000s after the company nearly went bankrupt. It is known today as one of the most desirable brands in the world because of their marketing efforts. Today I'm going to be looking at 3 different Burberry trench coats. I'm going to be looking at a true vintage Westminster Burberry trench coat. I'm going to be looking at a 1980s to 2000 era kind of lightweight travel coat, and I'm going to be looking at one that was made in 2018 to give you an idea of what they kind of have gone through when it comes to manufacturing and quality. And I'm also going to be discussing why they made this change and if modern standards hold up compared to the standards that put Burberry originally on the map. So we're going to start with the Burberry 1980s vintage trench coat. So as you can see straight off the bat, this looks like a hardy coat. The first thing you see when you observe this Burberry coat is the weight. You can see it looks reassuring just by the type of cotton that it uses. The Westminster coat put Burberry on the map. You can see by how they designed this coat, it was designed for a very particular style. The original point of these coats were to be functional and to be stylish. So next up on the list is the slightly later iteration, also a belted Burberry coat, but this one was probably made more in the 2000s kind of era when Burberry started rebranding. First off, you can see that this definitely is made out of a different material and it's a different kind of manufacturing quality. In the 90s, 2000s, Burberry started to go down in quality quite a lot. This coat is an exception though. It is still quite a nice travel coat, but you can definitely see the difference between this and the vintage one that I showed off earlier. This one is a travel coat. It's a lot lighter than the earlier Westminster coat, and it actually has a few extra features that I will be showing off later. Okay, so you can see that this is not a weatherproof coat like the Westminster. This is more of a travel coat, so it's rain resistant, but it's also super lightweight, so you can take it on a traveling trip to basically just cover your suit. This coat is an exception to the lower quality kind of coats that Burberry started producing in the 90s, early 2000s kind of era. It still does not hold up compared to the older Westminster coat, but I'll be getting to some of the reasons why shortly. Now, last on the list is this modern Burberry pea coat. So this is also an iteration of their trench coat line, but you can see this is a modern coat. It's a lot shorter than the older iterations of trench coats, and it's a lot more fitted. In fact, I couldn't get Paul's arms into this coat. So this coat is designed to hug your body rather. So this jacket is designed to be an item in its own. It's no longer about protecting your suit or your undergarments. This is just about style. You definitely see that they're using different materials on it. Much like the Westminster, this coat has a lot of detailing on it, which we'll be discussing shortly, you can see that this coat is designed for style more than functionality. And that's what a lot of modern Burberry items are style over substance. Okay, so first up, we have the more modern Burberry pea coat. And first off the bat, the jacket is a lot more fitted and stylish than the older variations of the Burberry jacket. So we can see that the buttons on this jacket are actually embroidered with the Burberry logo, and the logo is a lot more prominent than in the older iterations. As you can also see, the authentication Burberry tag inside, which is a lot more prominent. Just like the other coats, this one does have detailing. Instead of calfskin, this is lambskin leather, however, so it's quite a bit softer. It also has collar detailing, which is a lovely little touch. The coat also has a faux half belt, which is interesting because I've never seen this on an older Burberry coat, and it also has metal detailings as well. The coat also has a detachable vent at the back which can be fastened again. All in all, the modern Burberry jacket is a lot more stylish than the older variations. However, it doesn't have the same kind of vintage Burberry style. The pockets are also a little bit smaller than in the older versions, which definitely for me is a downside. Alright, so with that we go on to the 2000s, 90s iteration of the Burberry jacket. So this travel Burberry jacket, you can see, is not actually made out of cotton as the other two Burberry jackets are. Rather, it's made out of a lightweight, rainproof polyester. The prominent Burberry logo is very similar to the vintage Westminster, and the authenticity tag inside is quite prominent as well. The jacket is incredibly thin, so it doesn't have the heavy-duty lining that the other two jackets have, which makes it a lot more lightweight. And yeah, ignore the orbit. What else this jacket has is a personalization tag on the inside, and as well as the Westminster coat and the modern pea coat, it also has leather trimmings and a check collar. Now, the jacket also has another feature which is absolutely lovely, which it comes with a bag that the jacket can actually be fitted into. Because of this feature, this coat is really the perfect travel item for someone who does a lot of business trips. It's easy to fold and the whole thing goes into the bag, which is really, really a nice feature. Now, on to the one we've all been waiting for, the Burberry Westminster coat. So, this has been my favourite coat to review. It is an absolute masterpiece of a coat, with all the leather trimmings, the little details that make this Burberry coat the iconic piece that it is, with all the respect that it deserves. It is made of the finest cotton, with all the extra detailing that a true vintage Burberry coat should have. It feels nice, it looks nice. This is the holy grail of vintage coats. Now, I also just want to compare the other Burberry coats to this Giorgio Armani vintage travel coat that I also obtained. And I can already feel the difference between this and the Burberry coats. The material is different, the stitching is different, all the little detailing is different. It doesn't have the leather trims that the Burberry coat has. The logo is a lot less prominent than in the other Burberry coats. The shell just doesn't have the same kind of feeling of protection that the other Burberry jackets have. The detailing isn't as nice. The collar doesn't pop the same way that the other Burberry jackets do. The detailing is just not as organic as the Burberry coats. All in all, this Armani trench coat just doesn't have the same kind of appeal as the other Burberry vintage coats.